summit, yeah, they call it first annual summit and all of that, but there are like whole bunch of chiplet related summit or conferences has been
Yeah.
organized. Last
Yeah,
year we did.
let me chime in. So this is Lance Levenhall. He's been doing the SmartNIC Summit. He actually started many years ago when I was at Broadcom doing the Ethernet Summit. So he's been doing these a couple times a year summits in technology areas that are kind of emergent, but he does it for profit. So this is his day job. So he runs these conferences and puts some money in his pocket.
Oh, very good.
Okay. So yeah, again, I already shared the folks have any suggestion on like what are some of the things which we should be asking panelists, and if you have any suggestion, as Bapi said, we can capture.
So maybe Ravi, you want to start with what you think your focus is, and maybe that'll lead to questions.
Yeah, so my focus as part of this panel, Bapi, I was thinking we've been having chiplets, and now chiplets are gaining more and more momentum. So how we make chiplet as especially the interoperability part from a business standpoint, and from a how different companies still BOW and UCI probably are the two lead, I would say, open interface, and yes, open HBI is the third one. But how companies are like, would be asking panelists how they think it will become more viable market down the road.
Ravi, just curious, and I'm not suggesting anything, but is there like, did you guys try to invite somebody from AMD or?
I have not reached out to anybody from AMD, but I would love to have AMD if AMD can participate.
If it's not too late and you want me to look into it, I can.
Oh, I will appreciate, Tawfiq, if you can, yeah, it's not too late. I added Samsung actually in last 1 week, and I was even actually trying to add TSMC. So far, I'm not successful, but AMD, I would love to have them.
Okay, send me the URL, and again, I don't promise anything, but I can try.
Oh, I will appreciate that. It's in the chat. Let me know if you can see in the chat.
I should be able to see the chat. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Hey, for clarification, guys, I stumbled across a second HIP chips in Montreal at the end of February. Is that still going on as well as this chiplet summit, or has it been cancelled?
Hey, Alan, this is DJ. So the second HIP Chips conference is being planned. We haven't finalized anything yet, but it's going to be a slightly different format. We haven't finalized anything yet because of December holidays, etc. But once we have an update, we will provide it to the folks here.
Okay, and that's the end of February, right? That's going ahead.
Yes, so that's correct. Yeah,
that's a short fuse.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's a very short fuse. It's going to be a very different format. We don't have a one-day affair like how it was before. So we are kind of working through the mechanics of that.
Okay. Yeah, I might be going to the main conference, so I'll be there on that one. And
right.
I will.
And we don't have any details or anything to share yet, so that's why I don't have much to share other than the fact that you brought it up, so I just chimed in.
No problem. And by the way, guys, I will be at HIP Chips, I think, presenting. So if I can help anyway at HIP Chips, let me know. Sorry, help anyway at Chiplet Summit. Beg your pardon. I'll be there as well.
Excuse me. Okay, noted. Thanks. Ravi, you want to keep going and see what you're thinking?
So, yeah, again, I'm at this point, I'm hoping if folks have some suggestion in terms of what they want this panel to cover, and at least in their mind, as part of this community, some of the pointers they want to as these panelists to cover.
Yeah,
Can we
I was
build
just going
off-
to suggest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to make one question that I think is one of the big barriers when I talk to people is known good die, and I buy die from 3 vendors and I put them together and one's bad and it screws up the whole device. How does that going to work, right? So that seems to be, when people start thinking about it, they love the idea of chiplets, and then they start digging into this, and then that's like nobody really has a good answer, right? So if the question is what's going to turn it into a real market, I think that interoperability, if there's going to be second sourcing, sort of, how is it going to work, right? So that's some of the, I think those are the big issues in that question, in my view.
So if I get it right, you're saying known good die and the accountability of overall system yield.
Yes, you put it in a way better way than I did. Yes, that's good.
Okay. That's a definitely good one from a business standpoint. Any other suggestion?
Can we build off, after the business workshop, you guys had a bunch of questions. Do you still have those slides with you? I was looking for them. I couldn't find them.
Yes, I need to dig it up, but I should have it.
Do you remember what the title was? I forgot what we called the title, but that seemed to have a list of business issues, right?
Vapi, let me just pull it up. It's been a little while, but
it seems to have some stable concerns.
give me 1 second. Maybe I can share. This is the file which we built. Can you see my screen again?
We still see the browser.
Okay, hang on. Let me know if you can see.
That one. These seem like we had a bunch of questions around the fact that the revenue for chiplets was delayed relative to a chip because you had to wait for other people to integrate it.
That's the same with packaged chips on boards.
Yeah, but then you have one more stage, right? Because that chip that you make now has to get onto a board, blah blah blah, right? There's those, all of those still exist.
I'm sure, Bapi, it might be somewhere here. I need to because this is like all the questions.
It's way up there. Somebody had it. I know we spent a lot of time on that. Oh yeah, right there. Right there on cell 3E.
3E. Okay.
Right there, where your arrow is, your cursor is. Not this one then. Okay, somewhere in here is the thing that, hey, we built a chip and it takes you forever to get revenue.
No, I remember that I maybe we can build a question based on, yeah. So revenue recognition along the value chain of chiplets.
Yeah.
These are really good questions that you're showing on the screen too, right? So it looks like some thought has been given to this already.
Oh yeah,
This was
this
is from about I think 18 months ago now.
Yeah.
I think it was March of 2021.
Yeah.
Oh, I found it too. Nice. Okay.
Api, what is this document? Can you put a link on the chat for this?
I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Done.
Because then we could all add it or add to it or whatever, right?
I just did. Yeah.
Perfect.
So if you Yeah.
I think, let me just check the sharing links. I think everybody has it. Yeah, anyone with the link should be able to. Oh, I'm going to make sure everybody's an editor too, so you can wreak havoc.
Ravi, there was a white paper also. You might want to refer to that white paper because I think that white paper summarized a lot of things from here neatly, if you recall.
Yes. So Dharmesh, do you remember if we published it? Because I know
Yes,
we
it was published. Yes, 100%. It went
It
to
was published,
IC.
Radha.
Yeah, I know this very well because it went to IC. So I remember Bapi or somebody presented and I supported it. And it got published. Bapi, you know the white paper I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think you can actually find it on the ODSA contributions page.
Okay, here it is, and I'm putting the link as well in this one in the.
Type ODSA project. Oh, it's not a contribution, right? Where do I find?
It's a white paper. I have a
Yeah,
copy
so
of the white paper. I have, if anybody needs it, it should
No,
be available.
I just put it in the link. If folks want to see it, it's in the link.
Yeah, it should be easily available.
Hey, Ravi, I
Yeah.
wonder if maybe. Sorry, go ahead.
So Dharmesh, I'm just going
it
through
is.
and see.
Yeah. Hey, we need
Yeah,
to have a
this
convention
white
where,
paper has a lot of summary of
yeah, here,
content generated from the workshop.
here you go. Hey, from now on, everything that we do on the ODSA needs to have ODSA in the title to make searching easier, man.
It doesn't have.
It doesn't have ODSA in the title. It was like really.
I see. Okay, that's why you're not able to in the search. It has actually. See, it has in
The text, yeah.
not in the title.
Hey, Ravi, can you go back 1 second for your title?
Sorry, say again.
Can you go back 1 second for the title of the panel?
Oh, title of the panel. Okay.
Yeah.
It's right here.
Oh, where are you sharing? Yeah.
Oh, I thought I was sharing. Okay, hang on. Okay. Can you see now?
Yeah, it's coming up. Let me see. Yeah, I wonder if, and looking at the document, you were looking, if you mean to say how to make an open chiplets a viable market. Because people, for example, at AMD may say they've been doing chiplets, they've been making, a lot of revenues, but I think you mean something different than what AMD. You mean an open chiplet market where, you get multiple sources, multiple chips from different vendors and stuff like that.
Oh, I see your point. Okay.
Would you agree? I don't know. I'm just making.
How I think you are suggesting if we change the title to how to make chiplet a viable open marketplace.
Or how to make an open chiplet, market a viable place. Because there is an implication that it's not a viable now. And if I'm looking from an AMD, I'd say most of their products now are chiplets. But it's all done, with AMD chiplets, if you like, necessarily, at least most of it. AMD chiplets. I got the feeling you mean something different, not like the chiplet products AMD is producing, but you want the chiplet product whereby all the chips are coming from different sources, all the chiplets. I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think I take your point. Maybe it should say chiplet die or whatever, right? Because that's, once it's packaged, it's a product, right? Like an AMD chip or whatever. But I think the concept of here is that there would be multiple known good die from multiple vendors that the customer could purchase from that market, right? From
Yeah, which I think
however
that
that's going
paper.
to work. Right?
Yeah, which that paper you guys talking about. I'm suggesting something like how to make an open chiplets a viable market, something like that.
So I think this one, at least the thought when this panel was constructed was around right now, if you look at whether it is AMD or Xilinx and AMD are the same now, but
Yeah.
everything is vertically integrated. Yes, they have chiplet as a viable product, but everything is done by them. Now, this is assuming if there is a smaller company, they want to build say IO chiplet, for instance, and
Sure.
can they still produce such a chiplet and get return on investment on the coming up with that kind of a chiplet? But I think again, uh, I think we should add somewhere open in this title. Probably that will
just to reflect that distinction, right?
But that's the idea. The idea is it's not only a vertically integrated company to make a chiplet product, but a much smaller company who have some niche and they can come up with a chiplet, but then can still make money.
Yes.
Hello.
Yep.
Hi, this is Suresh. One thing I did want to mention on this particular point is compared to an AMD or one of the vertically integrated where they are able to floor plan individual chiplets or the combination of chiplets, so it makes it all work seamlessly. But if you're working in a third-party ecosystem, it might not be where all the interfaces are aligned and all that. When you put them together, even if the chiplets are available, it might make it very difficult. So one of the questions, or at least thoughts I had, was TSMC has published, at least for interposers, some recipes for how many chiplets are possible in what configuration for different reticle sizes. If there are some recipes that the OSATs have, that might be at least a forcing function as a starting point. Just wanted to throw that out there. Thanks.
Any other suggestion? Because Bapi, I will relook this, the questions which we had here, and then Dharmesh, even in the white paper, and maybe I'll extract some questions from that there. But any other suggestion you have, either you can share now or you send me in an email, or let Bapi Bapi can send it to me later. Okay. Thanks, Bapi.
Good. All right. You can do a rev next week if you like.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Perfect. Cliff, wait, I need to make you the presenter.
Thank you, Bapi. See if I can get my screen to share. To share. And so there are three things I'd like to update everyone on. One is we're going to be issuing a news release on the morning of the 25th at the time of the first keynote for the Chiplet Summit, highlighting the work being done at OCP ODSA around CDXML. And so please watch for that. The other thing is we have sponsored a tutorial which is going to take place in the afternoon of the 24th. And I put a link in the chat. If you register using that link, access to the tutorials for that day is complimentary. So, and then you can go ahead if you wanted to attend the 2 days of the conference itself on the 25th and 26th. You would have to register separately for those with Chiplet Summit. So just pass the word around for those that don't know and may not be speakers, that if you wanted to attend our tutorial in the afternoon, it's complimentary. The third element that I wanted to let people know about is we have secured a keynote for Thursday, and it will be the last keynote of the conference just before lunch on Thursday. And I wanted to share with everyone just a little bit about the plan for the tutorial. And I can send this out, or Boppy can send this out on the mailing list after this call. But it's going to be a tutorial in the afternoon. I think it starts at 1 o'clock and goes to 5 o'clock. And we're going to be talking about our perspective on what do we think it's going to take to create a new open chiplet economy, from the business side that you were just talking about all the way to the technology side. And currently we have speakers from Meta. Thank you, DJ, for agreeing to be a speaker. We have Amber from Google and John Schaff from DOE that are going to provide an end user perspective on what is driving the market from and why we need chiplets from an end user perspective. We'll then have a session on the builders of chiplets, and there we have speakers secured from IBM, Samsung, Cisco, and D-Matrix. And then we'll have a session on the supply chain and how do we arm the vendors and the builders of what we're calling system in package, which is the final product that assembles multiple chiplets from different vendors. And so we have James Wong from Palo Alto Electron. We have Elad Alon from Blue Cheetah. We have Cash from Etopus. Thank you, Cash, for supporting us and being there. And then we will have a talker from Rambus. We'll close out the afternoon with a panel session that's going to be led by Tom Hackenberg. And we'll focus on, the perspective of the panel members on what is it really going to take to make this work. We're just developing the content for that panel session now. And I believe those of you that are proposed panel members have gotten an invitation to have a discussion next week. I also believe Boppy sent out an invitation to all the folks that are presenting at the tutorial for us to do some work together in terms of preparing the presentation. So we'll be coordinating with you to make this work and make this a success. Last, I just wanted to share with you some of the messages that are developing. I will send out some information to everyone prior to the summit so we can all align messages. And also we'll be at the summit, we'll have a booth. And for any of the other sponsors that are having a booth, we will share information, provide some handouts for those that want it to be in their booth around OCP and ODSA and what we're doing. But what we want to really do is position ODSA as a critical force in establishing a new and open chiplet economy, where the picture you see here shouldn't be a surprise to you, is our visual of how we think the economy will develop and what is the role of the OCP in making this economy develop. I'm just giving you some very quick, the positioning for the OCP itself will be a diagram something like this, where we'll position the OCP ODSA as, having a number of very active work streams focused on many important aspects of creating a new chiplet economy, from the business workflows to the chiplet description schemas, CDXML, to standardized test benches and be able to compare interconnect standards, logical link layers for interconnect, and of course the physical interconnects, and some planned work for the future around additional work streams around thermal management, potentially co-packaged optics, and in-package health monitoring. So that's some of the positioning you're going to see from us.
Wait, I would like to draw Ravi's attention to the business workflow work group. And get his help in getting that effort going again in 23.
That's going to be very important, and we want to put energy in with you. We've come out with the positioning of an economy, and the feedback I've had from my sources is it's believable that the OCP can help establish a full economy, but in order to do that, we have to have active work in the business workflows. And so we will be putting our energy behind that initiative in 2023 to make that a reality. Some of the key takeaways that Bobby and I would like to leave at the end of the keynote is that the market is extremely diverse and needs to be served in totality, that one size will not fit all in terms of creating a chiplet economy. There'll be many different supply chains that emerge from many different market segments. And we're also going to need to build an environment where many players can enter with a very low barrier to entry and participate to bring along rapid innovation. The other thing that we'll of course want to talk about is how open communities, not only the OCP, but all the open communities in the ecosystem are going to be critical to accelerate an open chiplet economy. And hopefully we'll also leave everyone with a feeling after this chiplet summit is done, with all the help of everyone here on the call, when you talk and you mention your association with OCP and ODSA, that people will walk away from the chiplet summit and say, understand how ODSA and OCP is in fact a critical force already very active in establishing the chiplet economy.
Cliff, may I suggest something? Maybe you should add my panel as part of ODSA OCP as well, because again, I see all the other mentioned. Maybe you can add that panel as well.
The mentions that were in the Word document were for the tutorial, but I think what we might do is maybe your panel is in the afternoon right after our keynote, so we very much can talk about it for sure. That's a good suggestion. We can point to it as a follow-on from our keynote. So Bobby and I will do that. Yeah.
Can I add something here? So one of the things that I've witnessed or seen here is that ODSA is a much broader than just a die-to-die interface standard.
Thank you.
This
exactly the message.
Much broader in its scope. I don't want to say we're agnostic to the die-to-die interface, because obviously we promoted a bunch of wires and open HBI, but I think what we look at is much more of an ecosystem view versus, we belong to OCP, Electronics, but it's much more of a, how do we make this die-to-die interface work and interoperate versus how do we make a chiplet ecosystem, solutions, economics all work, which I think ODSA covers much more broadly.
Absolutely, and Nick, that's exactly the message that I'm hoping will hit home to everyone in the community after the Chiplet Summit with our positioning and this chart, that we're way bigger than a die-to-die interconnect. Exactly, we have started there, but that's not where we are today. Thank you. Any other comments on that?
Hey, Ravi, so we maybe even as early as in the next 2 meetings, we should find a way to revive the restart regular meetings of the business work group.
So Bobby, let's put this as an agenda next week, and I think I want to discuss with the rest of the folks, and depending on interest as well as depending on participation, because, and I think let's discuss a little bit more with the rest of the folks, if that's okay.
Yep. And DJ, and obviously we need your help as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Bobby.
And if there's something the foundation can do.
Bobby, I have one question. Last year, towards the end, I think you and I chatted, we were thinking about the survey on chiplets, because that was done probably quite some time back, and we wanted to do one more. So was it done, or like where are we
No,
on that?
that was the third topic for today, but I don't think we're going to get through that. That's one of them on the to-do list. So we can get our thoughts on business into that survey.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and in fact, I think the thought process, if I recall, was that we could discuss that under the business.
Yep. That's the reason I
right?
brought it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like how it was done last time.
And Cliff, actually, would you mind sharing your screen for one more second?
My bad. Sorry. Thought we were finished. I'll do it. Yeah. Hang on.
Actually, the one thing I do want the groups, I appreciate, I mean, on everything else, but specifically, one of the things we're trying to also figure out is what's next, or should we grow? And we have our thoughts on three. The gray boxes are sort of the next work streams that I've heard ideas on. Is this it, or should we, is this look like a meaningful list? So Ian came up with thermal management thing, and we haven't. I don't think we made any big movement on that. And every once in a while, co-packaged optics comes up. And then ages ago, we had something about in-package health monitoring and telemetry. So anybody have any thoughts on, oh, no, this isn't it, there's other problems we should be focusing on in terms of, like, say, Nick, or our sort of big picture view, that there are other issues that are more potent?
So Bapi, co-package optics, I know even last year we had quite a bit discussion in OCP.
Right.
I think in some form and fashion, this needs to be covered, because it is becoming more and more reality in the world. And it is tied to, in a way, different types of, I mean, it's an optical chiplet, but I think it ties to some of the things which we are trying to do here. It's just that the standard may be different, like what we are trying to do, like as part of ODSA, like BOW. But I think that's fine, because we had Open HBI and BOW, and then maybe we need to dig into how do we standardize this co-package optics world.
Yeah, and my assumption is, like, just like memory is a different interface, co-packaged optics might end up being a different interface.
Yes, you're right.
Bapi, I think also maybe power delivery is a big challenge in that space.
Good point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Power delivery, yes.
What about the balance of co-packaged optics versus near-packaged optics?
Other topics. So do you want to broaden the time from co-packaged optics to just optical integration or something?
I just, as you know, I'm a broken record. Beyond the package, we need to think beyond the chip package, but still with a chiplet mindset. That's all I can say. And I think this work group, whilst it's not the core focus, you're obviously one end of the stick. At the moment, everybody's happy to burn 10 picojoules per bit after being less than half a picojoule per bit. And everyone's saying the solution is going to be co-packaged optics, and it's going to magically appear tomorrow, plugging everything in with co-packaged optics. That ain't going to be the case. It's going to be a decade to 2 decades for co-packaged optics to make its way into every single SSD and memory chip, etc. So we've got to have a plan of how to get there. So getting off the package at near to chiplet power levels is where we need to start focusing.
Okay, so I've called it near package compute and optics, because you near package compute optics memory, right? That's what I was going to.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And then Suresh said what? Architecture for laminate and organic substrates. Okay, chiplet-based architectures. Okay. Any other group? Any other topic ideas? I mean, we have to find volunteers and everything else, but
And let me talk to Ian, maybe this thermal management or thermomechanical one, I think it is very much relevant here,
Okay.
and see how we can restart that, or maybe bring back some more discussion and see how community feels. But it's an important topic, thermal.
Got it. And JP, do you like are you okay with the name Chiplet Test Bench? That's what we're calling, but is there a better name that you think a better fit for the group, or this is an acceptable name? All right. Anyone else with any other topics that they can think of in terms of what's next? Okay, this was a good list. Thanks, Liv. That's what I want. So I've got 4: power delivery, co-packaged optics, near package, compute optics, memory, and chiplet-based architectures and laminate. Those are the 4 extra ones I picked up.
Hey, Bobby, one agenda we could add for future is, I think there should be some follow-up with DOE, which might have happened. I don't know. And that could be a good readout, which perhaps Cliff can provide at any time when it becomes available. There's no timeline for that. It's just a soft ask, because I just recall that must have happened over last many weeks of December and maybe in early January.
On what, DJ? I didn't get the topic.
I think the DOE was talking to there was a proposal.
Not yet. I think we're going to meet them. We got pushed out to January.
Right. I know that exactly. So I'm just putting it on your agenda calendar. You can kind of keep moving it, but it's just a line item. I'm giving it to you so that at some point it gets covered.
Got it. Okay. I wanted to cover goals for 2023, but I think that requires more time. A good discussion requires more time than we have. So unless somebody has any, let me go to the
I don't participation, right? We're at 15. I know in the past we've been in the mid-20s, maybe sometimes high 30s. Is this just because of first week back, or are you worried about people peeling off here?
Well, actually, I was going in the other direction. We started going back to our sort of usual mid-20s towards the November and December. And I'm assuming today is we're back because the first week back. But I was looking through the give me 1 second, I'll tell you. So when I look back at 12/16, one of the things I think I sent a note to someone, I don't remember who, saying, hey, we're suddenly back at much closer to our old levels. The work group participation is weirdly higher, so there's that. It's just this meeting. Give me 1 second, I'll tell you.
Why you feel it's weirdly?
No, I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so we had about 30 people in the last meeting of 12/16, Nick. So I kind of felt that we were actually building back up. But in the middle, we did have people peeling off.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel that the UCIE obviously took the vacuum out of made a vacuum in the room, and but clearly there's a much bigger challenge, as we've articulated today.
Yeah.
To be tackled with making this. So, assuming we can go forward together, and this group continues to bring the value it has, I think it makes sense that it's going to grow again, but in a wider scope.
Yeah. So, but yes, Nick, to your point, and Alan, you're exactly right. We did have a peel off, and then we sort of started growing again.
Do you have, Bobby, a view of what the ideal size should be?
So I think mid-20s is good, because these are update meetings. When I look around and attend a few of the other chiplet meetings as well, I think UCIE is the outlier in terms of the meeting size. But what I've noticed is there's a couple of other NIST-related activities that I'm associated with on manufacturing. 20 to 30 is a good way to extract the views of the community. I've seen most of and then you get much larger attendance at conferences, but in terms of the regular working meetings, having for 20 to 30 people gives you a fairly decent. Obviously, sub 15 is shaky. Over 30, I found interaction is harder. Let me put it that way. It just becomes
in
more
terms of the also, Bapi, maybe in terms of the companies you'd like to have, if there are people missing, like Amazon, for example, I'm thinking, and maybe Google, and do you think maybe you can recruit some of these folks?
So we're getting better participation in individual work streams. It's the Friday meeting, which is more of an update meeting and general topics, where you're seeing the Amazon has been missing in general. It is but in the work stream, say for example, I know we still have JP. Google's pretty helpful in the test package, and so on the individual work streams, we're getting participation. It's the Friday meeting where we're seeing like the Google staying away and Amazon, of course. Does that make sense, Tawfiq?
Yeah.
Mitch or Sakul, you have any open? Anything on your mind?
Oh, you mentioned the work group meeting. When is it?
So there's 8 of them. So there's the bows on Wednesdays. The bow test package is on bows on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Pacific. Test package is at 9 a.m. The link layer is at 9 a.m. on Thursdays. CDX is at 10 a.m. on Thursdays. Shahab runs a die-to-die comparison group that we need to find a home slot for. Ravi is hopefully we're going to revive the business group. We don't have a good slot for that yet.
So they're probably listed in the wiki.
Yes, they are.
Great, thanks.
Do you think, Bapi, it would be good, say, to get an update on the work from this group in this meeting, say, every 2 weeks or so?
I think once a quarter is what the cadence I've been aiming for. But we could definitely get an update. I could. That's a good idea. So on average, I've been aiming for about once a quarter.
Yeah, once a quarter from each group, but you have 8, so that's it. That's about every 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. Oh, you meant like every? Okay, I never mind. Okay. Cool, Suresh. Anything on your minds? Kash, Michael?
Well, nothing from me. Thank you.
Okay. Suresh, Allen?
I'm good, thanks.
All right, Swami? And Nick? Anything else? All right, in that case.
Nope. So I'm presenting at the Chiplet Summit, so I guess I'll see a lot of you there.
Yeah, and Cliff is going to share. We're going to share a couple of slides if anybody wants to use them in their deck as well, right, Cliff? That's the plan at some point this week or next week.
Yes, we'll send out some material that you can either put in one chart or talk to it at some point. And please let people know your association with us and the value you get. It's important that the community understands that at large.
All right. Well, I do mention ODSA in my presentation, so it's not a big billboard or anything like that, but it does get a mention. Okay. Yeah, I think, Bapi, on the participation, I think when you have agenda topics that are of interest to people, I think that's when you get the higher participation. So I think that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.